again, you move around a lot in radio, and they moved to Little Rock, and I think that's where her dad might still be. But he was the guy who gave me, who set me on my path, more or less. Now, I eventually got fired because I fell asleep on the air. But that wasn't his fault.
Wake Alan up! Wake him up inside!
If only I had, if only she had done that song earlier.
Heated of.
Yeah, that's right. But when I was on in Chicago, I had Amy Lee in. They were in town to do something, and I blew her mind. I said, I met you when you were 13 years old because your dad hired me.
Creep.
Yeah, make sure you add, because your dad hired me. I met you when you were 13 years old.
At least you didn't say, like, I saw you.
What, you don't meet people? It's not inherently creepy that you meet someone when they're 13 years old. I can't.
But it's
not my fault you were born when you were born.
I'm just saying, but it just sounds bad.
It's not going to hold up in court, Alan.
That I met you when you were 13? There has to be
I don't know when she was born. That's not on me.
Huh. All right.
I asked my bros if she was old enough, and they said okay.
I said, she's just fine. So anyway, they're making some money off this. Korn and Evanescence. I didn't hear any post-mortem on that show.
And
I assume Poundcake didn't go. Evanescence is Poundcake's favorite heavy metal band. And I assume you didn't go last night.
No, I did not go.
Why?
Because I didn't feel like it.
Man, this guy, it is hard to get him out of his hidey hole.
He doesn't feel like doing anything ever.
He doesn't want to go see his favorite heavy metal band. Are you going to, I bet you go see Panic at the Disco, your favorite punk band.
If I could get free tickets, yeah, absolutely.
Free tickets. This guy won't even support the bands he likes. He won't support artists he likes.
I'll go there. I'll get a T-shirt. I'll get a drink, a beer or two, some snacks, and I'll enjoy the show, and I'll post on social media for you and promote your brand.
She already did there. I'm going to do all this stuff for you. He's like that guy that in Spain that was trying to get the free empanadas. I'm going to promote you on my channel. They're like, you got to buy the empanada, son. It's $2. Give me $2.
Yes,
it's all I'm at your table
Panic
for.
at the Disco tickets are not going to be $2.
How much will they be? $35 plus fees? What's the matter with that?
Upwards of like $50.
$50 plus fees.
And I don't have a friend to go with.
You won't drop a C note on Panic at the Disco tickets.
Not right now.
When they're your favorite punk band in the world. They've got new music out.
I don't want to listen to their new stuff. I like their old stuff. I like classic.
Wow.
I'm a Panic at the Disco purist, all right?
He is a fair weather fan is what
I'm
he
not.
is. You are a fair weather fan.
He likes the hits.
I didn't say I wasn't a fan. I said I like their
You just
old
won't
stuff.
spend any amount of money to support who you like.
That's not what I said. I said I'm not buying tickets to the show. I didn't say I wouldn't go to the show, and I didn't say I wouldn't support.
Huh.
I'll go there and get a shirt, and hopefully they can sign it for me. I'll throw it back. Maybe Brendan Urie can get some sweat on it, or one of the other no names in the group. I will go. I will support. I'll talk about how hot he is and you know, have people be jealous. Yes, I'll absolutely do that. But I don't understand if I work in this industry when I can have tickets. We have partnerships with these ticket companies. I can get some free tickets if I want some.
Because why wouldn't you?
Because you never asked for anything.
Why wouldn't you financially support artists you like? Like, I can get all kinds of free stuff. I prefer to buy things because I like to support businesses and artists that I like.
In Poundcake's defense, you are in a much different income tax bracket.
You think I've been making this money my whole life?
Right, but
even back in the day when I
also-
didn't have. I think you should. If you like something, you should support them.
Well, if he gets
Imagine if we started charging for the Poundcake podcast, and you got all snippy because nobody was listening to it because they had to plunk down, and you'd be like, "It's just $5.
Yeah.
It's only $5."
I'll put it on Patreon and see what happens.
By the way, there is a new episode of the Poundcake podcast at AlanCoxShow.com, and here's what I've noticed, and I enjoy very much, is that the subtitles of his episodes are getting progressively longer. Right? A couple of weeks ago, it was Beyonce, Beyonce, Beyonce. And then the week after that was Leave Chris Alone. Who's that, Chris Brown?
Yes.
Yeah. And then after that, it was I Got a Good Feeling. So a couple of weeks at 3 words, then we get up to 4. This week's Kobe Bryant's crash photos trial. I like, just tell me that next week's episode is going to be at least 6 or 7 words long. That's what I like.
It's going to be like a Panic at the Disco title. That's how I support them.
By ripping them off.
By ripping them off.
I'll have a
is
song
what- yeah.
title that's just two lines long.
Right.
Oh, man,
Well, you should put an exclamation point after Poundcake then. The Poundcake podcast. Poundcake at the disco.
I got his camera to stop strobing, but now it's so far behind.
Yeah, there's a lag.
There's a serious lag, so
Right.
still trying to figure
And the
things out.
worst part of the whole thing, Poundcake is in the picture.
Oh, how do we fix that?
You guys are mean.
We're just supporting you financially. What's the matter with that?
Well, if you support me financially, then you could do whatever you want.
Yeah. That's right.
If only my webcam would work. Oh.
Oh. Yeah. Hey, are you going to benefit from Biden's student loan forgiveness thing here, Poundcake? You were the first person I thought of.
It said from 0 income to 125,000. Yeah, I'll definitely benefit.
Where's this? I didn't see this.
Today, a little while ago, he made the. Boy, that is a very high threshold,
That's what I
by the
said.
way.
From 0 income to essentially you're getting government assistance to
Yes.
making an electrician probably makes 125,000 a year maybe. So that's
But an electrician doesn't have
Student loan.
A college
$60,000
degree.
in student
I'm just
loans.
saying, I'm thinking of,
Usually,
yeah.
of
No,
a salary that
yeah.
would pay that. I don't know. Nobody I know. Well, that's not true. Not in the state that I know this.
Yeah, I'm always curious why the threshold is so high. I mean, because, listen, economic policy based on spite is not a good solution. You hear a lot of people, "Why should you take a loan, you pay it?" Like, I fully understand that. You can't make the case that taxpayers should subsidize private school tuition for rich kids because most student debt is owed by higher income people. Because a lot of it doesn't, unless you're getting a Pell Grant. So a lot of federal loans, I think all federal loans, most of them, it doesn't matter how much money you make. So that's the problem people have is why are we subsidizing people who can easily afford it? But it's a good start, though, because you're like, not everybody's in the same boat. So you can't do like a shotgun blast and just shoot money at people.
Oh, yes, you can.
You can't though. You could, but they should target it. I mean, I think they should target it a little bit more. 125 grand is such a high, because like
I agree. That's just what
a fraction of this money is gonna go to people who make like under 25 grand. That's where the bulk of it. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's where the bulk of it should go because
you just take out the 100 and just leave me with the
Right.
25 grand.
Right.
Well,
We're
because
doing
people go
fine in that bracket.
People go, why should this class get a windfall but not students next year? There's a million cases to be made for either side. Students are going to borrow another $100 million next year, so it's not a fix. It's something. This is just fulfilling a campaign promise.
I don't think this is going to happen though. They're talking about it, but
The money's already earmarked. What they need to do,
go through.
I think if they target it more, it sounds like it's pretty targeted, like Pell Grants and support for public colleges and things like that. That's all good. If you get people who either didn't finish school because they couldn't or didn't get a job with their degree, which is what most people have a problem with and aren't making any money. Like if you went to medical school or graduate school, you're not making any money right out of school, but your earning potential is huge. So those people will eventually make money. There's a lot of people whose earning potential is not huge, and that's the problem, is they're saddled with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. There are some people who think that all student debt should be erased because college is a public good and it should be free. If you can do $20,000, you can do all of it, is what some people think. And other people think, well, college is an investment and blah,
Can
blah,
I
blah.
tell you?
But you were the person I thought of because you've been
How much do you still owe,
champing
Cody?
at the bit.
I owe 34,000.
I owe like 47 or 48.
Oh, I thought you said you owed 80,000.
I did right out of college.
Oh wow, you've been making good on that then.
Dude, I've been paying it for 10 years.
I
you
just
know what I mean?
paid off my student loans last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, I got.
Or the year before, 49 years old, I just paid off my student. I remember being in high school and having a teacher who was like, I'm sure I thought they were 60, but they were probably 32,
Yeah, right.
telling me they were still paying student loans. I'm like, oh my God, you're still paying. Paid mine off at 49.
Yeah. So.
Yeah,
But
if you
it doesn't. But again, I don't think spite is the way to go about it. People are like, I paid mine. Why can't they pay theirs? Because everybody's in a different situation.
I'll tell you what's going to happen. What I think is going to happen. First off, I think he is trying to keep a promise but I don't think what he's been doing right now is exactly what's going to continue to happen. He's going to forbear it because there's no harm, no foul. He lives in limbo with this policy. If he doesn't start student loans, or if he starts student loans, then people are going to be like, oh, man, you just let us get used to not having them around and not paying them. We got
Well,
so
they're
used
starting
to 'em."
but they're starting payments up again in January.
Well,
So the freeze only goes until the end of the year.
Yes, but he's been saying that because he's technically it was supposed to end September 1st. They said August 30th they're supposed to start. And
Better late than never.
I've been looking, and they're like, oh, it's going to be pushed back to January. He's been doing that for the last 2 years since COVID. Now, COVID was a perfect
Well, he
kind
kind
of
of had bigger fish to fry than student
Okay,
loans.
but this
at
is
best.
super specific. Like, I'm reading this article on CNN, and it's canceling a minimum of $10,000 in debt per person is a response to the pandemic.
Right.
So this sounds like $10,000 across the board.
But like yes, but like
But then it says-
Pell Grant recipients, because Pell Grants are based on your income, so lower income people can get them.
Yeah.
They can get the full 20 grand. So I think the targeting people who are like lower income, that's what they should be doing, not giving rich kids a
But
break
not
on their
even
student
that,
loans.
because this says forgiving all undergraduate tuition-related federal student debt from 2- and 4-year public colleges for those borrowers earning up to $125,000. So you had to have gone to a 2- or 4-year public college.
I misunderstood.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to subsidize private colleges. There's no way that they could, like
What
I didn't go to a public university, so if this were me and I were still paying my loans, it wouldn't affect me at all.
What
And
I thought-
there's a lot of details they're going to have to shake out in this, but it's good news for a lot of people.
No, I think he's doing this for the midterms. I think it's going to
You're
stay.
listen. You're
it's gonna stay in
you're
forbearance.
supposed to fulfill campaign promises.
I
That's what
understand that,
that's the biggest complaint of everybody who holds office is whether or not they fulfilled their campaign promises.
But with those campaign promises,
Trump said, I'm going to stack the Supreme Court, and he did. And as much as a lot of people hate it, that was a campaign promise that he fulfilled.
But he knows that there won't be as much. I mean, the Democrats aren't good at retaliation. Republicans are way better at strategizing and putting stuff together to where stacking the deck in their favor. Democrats have a hard time with that.
Have a hard time with what?
Making policy out of spite. They're not good at spiting the Republicans. They're just not. But with this policy, I feel like
I'm not talking about policymakers out of spite. I'm saying people, like civilians. There's a lot of people who think, well, I paid, why shouldn't they?
I know, but I'm saying,
which I understand, like from your like kind of reptile brain, but that's not good economic policy. And again, they're not cutting people checks. They're saying, hey, here's this much less you'll have to pay, which through the transitive property, keeps more money in your pocket than is then spent and put into the economy. That's what all this is.
I think this is going to be, it will have too much of an effect on the economy if he cancels student debt. He's going to put in forbearance up until he gets reelected. The midterms, if he wins that, he'll keep pushing it back because there's no, he'll be like, oh, well, I didn't have the power.
You know he's not up for reelection in the midterms, right?
I'm saying he's going to make sure he gets the Democrats that he needs to be reelected, and then
this won't have anything to do with the midterms.
It's all about optics. I'm telling you, dude.
I
He's
know.
just doing this to look good.
No,
to make
he's
it look like he
doing
keeps
it
a promise.
because he said he was going to do it.
No.
There's no downside to fulfilling campaign promises.
There will be so much retaliation if
what
this law
retaliation?
gets passed. Republicans
People are
not
voting
going
on
to like it.
They don't like anything. They don't like anything.
Yeah, they don't want to give veterans benefits. They didn't want to give people that were firefighters and police officers that
burn
were
pits.
But
yeah,
they all
voted
during
against it.
9/11.
Yeah.
They're like,
Right.
we don't want to help them.
Right.
Like,
There's no help whatsoever for women
there's-
forced to give birth to dead children.
yeah, they don't want to
So that's
reach
not even the point.
cross the aisle ever.
Okay.
Nobody is gonna be punished for fulfilling a campaign promise.
Okay.
But again, to your point, a lot of this has got to get shaken out. But
just
it's a
gonna be
good
forbearance.
start.
I'm excited about this.
It's not going to happen, Mary.
When I first came out of, I think it will.
Why wouldn't
or
it
at least to a
happen?
certain degree. Like when I first came out of college, my student loan payments were like $10 a month or something like that.
Oh God,
And
my
you're
payments
just
were
paying
so
interest.
high.
Well, and then when I got a job, like I don't remember what changed because I think I always did an income-based repayment
No, it's 'cause
plan.
the more you make, the more they take.
Right, but at one point I was paying like $400 a month.
Yeah, mine was
And-
$493 a month.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And I paid that for like a year or two. And then I got to the point where I couldn't pay that much. And they're like, well, that's your income-driven repayment plan. We can't go any less than that. So I had to put them in forbearance for a while. So I've been like
And
back
you were
and forth on
you
it.
were somebody who didn't finish. I was somebody who did, but never used either of my degree. Like
Right.
I don't do that. I didn't study
You're
this.
kind of using it right now, going back and forth with Poundcake about political science.
Oh, great. Yeah.
See, there
The
you
University
go.
of Akron English minor. Listen, Poundcake was the first person I thought of because he could benefit from something like this, and young Mary Santora could too. Not Bill Squire because he's not a paperwork guy.
If they get
And
rid
there's a
of
lot of paperwork involved in this.
Well,
And did not go.
Did not
to
go to college. No.
See, Bill Squire's the smartest out of all of us, right?
Sure.
If you'll allow me, on paper. And he hates paper work.
Paperwork.
I think he's fine with paper, right? Like this doesn't make you mad.
No. not that mad.
Oh, he's very anti-wood pulp being used for anything. I've got to take a break. If you'd like to text for anything, 35192, AlanCoxShow.com. You want to watch there, and you can listen anywhere on the iHeartRadio app.